guys, continuing on from the discussion of dyspraxia, because there's quite a few people who said they were interested in it. So I thought I'd answer the 3 questions that you guys posed in the Google form. If you do have any questions about dyspraxia, I'm interested to see if this could be a series or something. Like, I could talk about what dyspraxia, specifically what dyspraxia was like in school, in exams, in various different subjects, like PE. If you guys are interested, I will happily be that little corner of the internet for that. So the 3 questions I got asked. If you could / wanted to change anything about dyspraxia, what would it be? So many. That's an interesting question, mainly because if you asked me when I was doing PE when I was a kid, I would say I wish I could be able to throw and catch a ball. I wish I could be able to hit the ball and not freak out so much. When I was doing my driving lessons and driving tests, it would be, I really wish I had a better understanding of spatial awareness. When I was doing exams, it would be, I wish that I could think faster in certain aspects. But it's kind of what I was talking about in the first video, and the fact that I have no idea what it's like to not have dyspraxia. So I don't specifically know what I would change, really, apart from, like, I wish I didn't have it sometimes. Because it's, you know, blindly obvious sometimes when, you know, throwing and catching stuff. And yeah, really right now, as I just asked myself the question, I wish I could change other people's perspectives on it. I think this is something a cause that is very, very close to my heart. Not just because I have dyspraxia, but I really wish kids in schools across the world were taught about learning disabilities just frankly and openly. Dyspraxia, dyslexia, dyscalculic, dysgrammia. I'm really sorry about that one. I know it's dysgrammia or something like that. I'm really sorry. But again, an ADHD, autism, Down syndrome. I'm gonna miss them. That's the problem with starting lists. Your brain just goes, oh, you're gonna miss one, and I know I have. And I'm sorry, but I really wish that children across the world were taught, frankly and honestly, what learning disabilities are and how it affects people and what should you do in certain instances. For example, I used to work in the tourism industry in a property where it could get quite overwhelming. There could be quite a lot of people, and there was this young girl and she had autism, and she started panicking because there were so many people, especially loads of people that weren't speaking English, because there were tour groups from various different countries from around the world, and that can be quite overwhelming. It doesn't matter who you are as a kid, that is quite overwhelming. So I noticed that she was at unease, and so I found her a little corner of the room that I was working in with her mum that she could just freak out in peace. And I stood in front of them so that people weren't looking at her. And then she started screaming, and there was another little boy who was freaking out, and so at that reaction, and so then I was just talking to the little boy about what was happening and just going, no, she's gonna be fine, she's just gotta have this little moment to herself, because this is quite scary. Like, are you alright? He was like, yeah, I don't like the number of people. He goes, neither does she, sort of thing. So I kind of tried to take that opportunity to teach that little boy about what was going on behind me, sort of thing. And the young girl and the mum were really, really appreciative to be in the big tour group kind of gone through, and so I got to chat to her for a long period of time about what was going on in the room that I was in, about what would have happened many, many years ago in that room, and she got really interested in it. And the mum wrote a nice little review card about me and mentioned me by name, so my boss was really proud of me, haha. But more than just it helped me get on the good side of my boss, hey, it's really important to not attach stigma to things, and just, you know, it's what I was essentially, people with learning disabilities and things like that, it's just our brains are wired slightly differently, and the more stigma you can rip away from things like that, the easier it's going to be for everyone. However annoying you find anybody who has a disability, I guarantee you they find it more annoying. They have to deal with it for 24/7. If you can just be kind and understanding and just be patient, that's just gonna make all the difference in the world. Yes, that would be one thing I could change about dyspraxia. I'm aware that was a really long answer. The second one kind of is related, but I'm going to differentiate it. What is the one thing you wish people knew about it? I'm obviously gonna dyspraxia specific here. I wish people knew that it was more than just us being clumsy. Fun fact, dyspraxia, the original name for dyspraxia, certainly in the UK, I'm not sure elsewhere, but the original name for dyspraxia was clumsiness disorder. So yeah, because it's a lot easier to spot those kind of symptoms. In fact, my dyspraxia was noticed because there was a teacher who noticed I just walked into edges of tables and door frames and went, you might want to get her checked out. If the clumsiness wasn't a part of dyspraxia, I might not have been diagnosed. I wish people knew it's not just clumsy. We're not just being clumsy, because I remember trying to teach people about it, especially at school, and they just kind of thought I had a medical condition for being clumsy. And I mean, I kind of do, but also it obviously affects a lot more things. And also, it's not a I know you said one thing, but hey, it's not a blanket this affects everyone the same way. When you're being tested for dyspraxia, you get tested in various different formats. So you get tested on the physical side of dyspraxia, so you might get told walk on a straight line. Very similar to, you know, how the police check to see if you're drunk. You know, just walk along the line, touch your nose, stuff like that. I think if I get pulled over and they ask me to do that, I'll go, I have dyspraxia, can you just do the breathalyzer? Because there's no guarantee I'd be able to hit the line. I mean, I'm not going to be drinking and drive. Don't drink and drive. I had many laughter spurts myself imagining a dyspraxic person being pulled over and asked to walk on a straight line. He goes, no, I'm stone cold sober, I just can't walk in a straight line. Yeah, that's my life. But yeah, so you get tested for the physical side, but you also get tested on the mental side as well. Obviously, because as I said, it's not just clumsiness disorder. You might get given blocks of different sizes and get to put them, you know, those puzzle games where you put them all and you have to fit the shapes in, like Tetris, which is a game I suck at. It's the spatial awareness aspect, it's trying to do that, and it's also then you'll get tested on like maths and literacy skills, and your general knowledge, and you get tested on quite a lot of various different stuff. I could do a whole video specifically on how I was tested for dyspraxia and what actually happens. If anyone is interested in that, I'm realising I'm coming out with whole ideas for a whole series on this. If no one is interested in this, I'll just stop. But I know a couple of you said you were interested, so you brought this on yourself. But yeah, when I got tested, essentially you get asked questions and different puzzles until you can't do it anymore. So, like, there's no shame in getting one wrong. That is just, like, where you stop. It's like the bleep test. If any of you know the bleep test, the bleep test, if you don't know, is there are two lines, and any UK school child has probably done the bleep test. There are two lines at each end of your sports hall, and you have to run from one end to the other. And there's a recording playing, and it like goes, you have 5 seconds to reach the, you know, yeah, and then it goes beep, and then you start running, or walking, or jogging, or whatever, but you have to reach the other line before the bleep goes, and then you go back, and it gets faster and faster, and if you don't reach the line before the bleep goes, you're out. That is where you get to. And the bleep test continues way into, like, above Olympic standard. But it's just there to measure where you're at. That's kind of what the dyspraxic test was for me. I'm sure there are other learning disability tests that are quite similar, just the fact that you do it until you can't do it anymore. I was measured in sort of quadrants, sort of thing. So, this is going to come across as quite braggy, but hey. I'm in the top quadrant in the general population for speech. I'm a good orator, as they say. My general knowledge is also quite high, so I was like, yes. Spatial awareness is at the bottom. There will be people who have dyspraxia whose speech could be in the bottom quadrant, but their spatial awareness could be slightly higher. Spatial awareness is kind of the main aspect of dyspraxia though, so you might not have someone with dyspraxia whose spatial awareness is in the top quadrant, and if you are, wow. Dyspraxia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, things like that, ADHD and autism, I'm sure fall into the category as well. It's more than just what the label suggests. Feel free to have discussions with dyspraxic people, dyslexic people, and go, so how specifically does it affect you? Instead of going, what is it? And sort of thing, go, so I know it is. For instance, with dyspraxia, you can go, I'm aware it's a disorder that can affect your spatial awareness. How does it affect you? Especially if you're a teacher or have to engage with dyspraxic children quite a lot. If you can talk, chances are they're aware of how it affects them. If you can go, how can I help? How does it affect you? What can I do? That simple sentence of what can I do to help. And if you listen to the kid and then implement it, you will have changed their life at school. Yeah. I speak from experience. Having a teacher go, what can I do? How can I help? I am here. Let's go. Really useful. The last question, because obviously in the last video I did on this, I mentioned a couple of my extraordinary responses to it, and that's why I got so annoyed with a lot of people, is because they were just didn't understand, didn't know, and just was like, what is it? You sure you don't mean dyslexia? And nah. So someone asked, what is the most normal response you've got when you told someone you have dyspraxia? And that is a lovely question to finish on. So, I was going to talk about this, but I didn't. I kind of ran out of time, and that video is really long as it is. I'm glad so many people have actually watched it. Because I thought I'd be lucky to get 2 people watching it. So thank you for every single one of you who did watch it. It meant a lot. The most normal response I got happened at university. And that is a long wait. And it's, as I mentioned in my previous video, I thought there's something wrong with me, I'm a failure, yada yada yada, going around in my brain, having to tell teachers I have dyspraxia. What's that? Yada yada. Cut to going to university for the first time. And if you haven't been to university in the UK, this is how it works. You get assigned a personal tutor. I don't know if that is the same in America or things like that, but I know in the UK you're assigned a personal tutor who basically helps you with various things. Is on your side, if they're a good personal tutor anyway, and helps you go through the craziness that is university. So I walked into my personal tutor meeting for the first time, and I sat down and she went, okay, so is there anything I need to know before we get into this whole discussion? And I went, I have dyspraxia. It is, and I was starting to go into, it's a coordination disorder, the whole spiel. And my personal tutor went, I'm going to stop you. So you have dyspraxia, I know what that is. So you need 25% extra time in exams and use of a computer. That's probably the most normal. That's what I'd love to perceive as normal, having a someone in a professional environment, as a professor, go, yes, I know what you have, this is how we can help, let's implement it, let's go. And yeah, so that all got set and put in place, and I walked to my first exam, and I freaked out when I got my exam thing, because I got given my full exam timetable and where I had to go, and there were people who were in my course doing exactly the same exam, but they were in a different room to me. And I was freaking out because they were in a big exam hall, and I was in a tiny little room that I knew, but I didn't know like what specific room or anything. And so I was like freaking out because I was like, oh, I'm meant to be doing the exam with them. Like that's the exam I'm doing. And so I went to my personal tutor, like, I'm meant to be doing an exam in that room, but it says to go to that room. And she googled it and she went, oh, that's the computer room, because you have to do it on a computer. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be having to be in a room all by myself because I'm the only one with dyspraxia in the whole world. And so I went to the computer room and I was sat outside because they weren't letting anyone in yet. So I was sat outside. I was about 15 minutes early because if anyone is in the theatre realm, as I've dubbed it now, on time is early, actually on time is late. So you always turn up early for things. So I'm pretty much always 10 minutes early for things. But yeah, I was about 15 minutes early because I was freaking out. And I was sat outside the room and a couple of other people started joining me. And they're like, oh, are you doing the classics exam as well? I was like, yeah, yes I am. Do you have dyspraxia? And it goes, oh no, I have dyslexia. Oh, but Emily, you have dyspraxia, don't you? She's like, yeah, I have dyspraxia. And I was like, oh my gosh, there are others. There are others. So that made me really emotional, actually realising I wasn't alone. As I said, I can do a whole video specifically on how my exams worked with extra time and in various different forms. But that's the most normal response from my personal tutor and the invigilators and the other people taking my course. Literally as soon as I got to university, because it's a larger pool, suddenly I was having friends of mine were going, oh yeah, no, I had a friend at my secondary school who had dyspraxia, so you need help with this or anything. I had a couple of friends who would take extra notes for me. I had friends who would just talk it through with me, so I made sure I got it. Literally my whole life changed with dyspraxia as soon as I got to university. Suddenly people got it. If you have any more questions about dyspraxia, if you even if you just put I'd like a video on you doing exams, things like that, the Google form, put it in and I will answer them. There's also a Google Forms based on questions for British people. There's a couple of questions in there at the moment, but yeah, ask me. There was a little bit of a debate over on the Discord chat I'm in about various British foods and names of British things. My British things. Oh, that is a niche reference. If you get that, we're best mates. Yeah, something's coming. It's been so many months coming, but it is finally coming. The next video that I upload will be Star Kid Theory video updated. It's mainly going to be revolving around how Nightmare Time has influenced my theories, because that's the last big thing that happened with Hatchetfield. But yeah, so I will be doing a video about what I think will happen in Hatchetfield going forward and how my theory has changed a little bit since Nightmare Time. How Nick Lang has ruined my theories this time. Is that what I'll call it? How Nick Lang has ruined my theories yet again! I have got a Google form down below if you, specifically for any video suggestions from you. Like someone's challenged me to a lip sync battle. If that is something you guys are interested, I had a weird sort of idea pop into my head about a lip sync battle between me and you guys. There's brand new frames that have come onto my Etsy shop, which is called Worlds Through Words. And actually I've got one of my mock-ups right here. So this is just so you get to see the size. Little advert at the end of my thing. This is There Was an Idea. Stark knows this, called the Avengers Initiative. You can buy them. You can also buy them without the frame, so you can just buy the typography if you're interested in that as well. I'm just like full on selling myself now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening to my ramblings. Thank you to those that sent those questions. They were really nice and nice to talk about. Again, if you're interested in me doing a series based on dyspraxia, just spreading the word a bit more, I will happily do that. Also, just another series idea that pops into my head. I'm aware a lot of you might be struggling learning from home, and one of the Christmas presents I got given was this book, which is What Would Boudica Do? I love it. It is so good. So essentially it is everyday problems solved by women from history. And I've loved reading it so much that it's kind of reignited a passion for women through history. So if you want me to do a series based on that, based on women from history, I will do that. I'm also working on I'm working on so many videos, but I've got a series idea called Hysterical Historicals. Essentially I'm collating together a number of really funny to me history facts and stories that actually happened, similar to horrible histories. I can't escape that. So it's my version. So if you'd like to know what the ancient Egyptians did for pregnancy tests, yeah, if there is something specifically you want me to tackle in history, I'm your gal. I do have, my qualifications are, I've got a degree in classical civilization, so if you want me to talk about anything from ancient Greece, ancient Rome, their mythology, the actual structure of their society, anything like that, I can cover that. I've been paid to talk about William Shakespeare and the Tudors, so I got that covered as well. And that is both plays and his life as well. And also I'm just a big history nerd. I mean, I could probably do a Google form specifically about history things, but at the moment there's what video should I do next? I believe that is what the Google form is called. Just put it in there and I'll see if there is any interest for any of those genres. I could put it all together into Hysterical Historicals. That'll just be the overarching banner. I am full on rambling now. Hopefully it's less rambling after the edit. I doubt it. I can only do so much. Thank you if you've got this far. I love you all. Take care. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and stay totally awesome.